Welcome to Once Upon a Stitch Nook and my desk where the creativity happens. I'm going to be showing you how to do the color work on the wave trim I use in my wave cardigan or for your own uses. I've already gone ahead and done the base 3 rows. So whether you are just working it up by itself like this or working it onto your cardigan like in the pattern, you want to do multiples of 8. I've done 2 multiples of 8 here, plus 1 at the end once you've done the number of 8s you want. So you've established that on your first row. In this case, I established that with a chain, but if you're working directly onto it, you will use single crochets. And then I do another regular row of single crochet in the blue, and then one regular row of single crochet in the white. And for this, I'm using the Yarn Bee Yarntopia in white and the Yarn Bee Yarntopia in the cerulean for the dark blue. So I've done the first 3 rows because they're very simple, and as long as you know how to do single crochet, you can follow that along. But what is a little harder is when you get to the actual color work. So we are going to be going over that now. So in the case of this, what I like to do is we're always going to be working from the right to the left. So once you have established on the last row of your cardigan, if you're adding this trim or whatever you're adding it to, you're going to cut at the end. I weaved it in already, and then you're going to go back to your beginning row, back to the beginning of the row here. So I'm going to join in my cerulean blue. I'm going to join it in the corner and chain 1, like so. And then from here, what we're going to do instead of the single crochet is we're going to do a waistcoat stitch, which is essentially a single crochet, but you are inserting it into the V from the front to the back instead of under these 2 loops. So you're going lower. So you're going to insert it, yarn over, pull through like regular, and you'll see how this is going to develop a knit look. If you do knitting, or if you've ever worked stockinette, or if you've just seen the regular knit appearance, it will look like this. Now the chart shows that we just need 1 blue here, so we're going to immediately do a color change. So I'm not going to finish that waistcoat stitch, but rather bring in the white to finish it off. So immediately going to bring in your next color to yarn over, pull through, and just make sure things have a good attention. You want to be careful not to go too tight, or else this will scrunch up quite a bit. Now the chart shows for row 3 of the chart, that is, or row 4 if you're following the written pattern. We're going to do 4 waistcoat stitches in the white, and so you're going to be working over your blue. In this case, I'm working over my tails as well. So we're going to do that for 4 waistcoat stitches. So again, that's going to be like a single crochet, but into the V. So I do 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th, we need to do a color change, otherwise it'll look off. So I'm going to drop the white, and since I've been working over the blue, it's immediately down here where I can pick it up. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through with that, make sure things are of the right tension. And the chart shows you'll do then 4 waistcoat stitches in the blue. They're represented by the pixels, and you'll follow them along. I'll have that up on the screen for you to follow as well. So I've done 3. And now on my 4th, I'm going to do a color change. So I drop the blue, I pick up the white to do a yarn over and pull through. And since I have a repeat, you're going to keep repeating this until you have 1 stitch left. So you repeat the pattern, like so. And now I'm going to do a color change, so I'm going to switch to blue. And you'll notice there is a dark row, and that is for the very last, because if this was worked in the round, what you would notice if we came up now against the first, we have this 1 blue here. So the 3 would line up perfectly to give it 4, like we have in the repeat all the way around. But since this is ending, and I like to have a little white space where the wave does the little curve. So we have some white space so the curve is distinct. I have this extra row at the very end to provide that. So you're just going to now follow at the very end of your repeats, however many 8s you have, or once you've worked all around your trim, you're going to do that last dark column. And this, I'm sorry, I did a color change without thinking. In this case, we are simply going to end on the blue. Sorry, my mind wandered there. Like so. And now, at the end, sorry if that sound was awful, we're going, pulling that too much. We're going to cut both colors. Pull that through. Just going to secure it for now. Like so. And then we're going to go back to the beginning of your trim. So we're going to go back here and checking which color we need from the chart. It shows for the next row we're going to need our blue. So I'm going to join the blue, chain 1, and we continue waistcoat stitch. So you'll start to see how this develops that knit look. So into the V, you're going to do 1 waistcoat stitch, and now we do 1 more. And since the next is going to be white, we're going to drop the blue and pick up white. In this case, we need to introduce it. So yarn over, pull through, adjust your tension. Sorry, my finger's covering that. Insert into the V, and now the chart says to work 2 white. So we're going to go 1, and then on the next one we'll need to do a color change. And again, working over the yarn you're not working with. So now we're going to do 2 blue, and essentially this row is going to be another even repeat of 2, 2, 2, 2, just alternating more frequently. So I'm going to speed up my process now that you're getting the idea. Always working into the V's and not just the little braids at the top. And I'm working 2 stitches in each color. And I drop it and I pick up the one I've been working over. And you will notice sometimes they'll start to peer through a little bit. And you can, a little trick is while you're working over them, you want particularly to not, like right now here I'm working over quite a bit of white. You're working over it, but you can adjust it to be a little more in the back and it will show less color that way. But in the end, the results are usually pretty neat if your tension is good and there's not, oh, and I will hopefully remember to put the number in the beginning, but we're using a 2.75 millimeter hook or a 2.25 millimeter hook. I'm honestly not sure which hook this is because I think it's mislabeled. Alright, we're getting near the end here. Pick up our white, and then we're going to have the last stitch according to the pattern. And so we're going to check our dark column, and the dark column says to do a blue. So I'm going to color change after this one. Essentially what it is as if you were just going to keep going with the repeat pattern, if you've kind of caught on to that. So we've come to the end. We're going to snip the colors again. Then I'm going to secure it so it doesn't unravel on me. And I'll deal with the ends later. Like so. I'll do one more with you. So joining in here. The next row is 5 on the chart, and it starts with a white this time. So I'm going to introduce the white and chain 1. And it just requires 1 stitch. Remember, always a waistcoat stitch. So I work into that V, and then I'm going to introduce the blue. And here we're going to get a little bit of a different pattern. So I introduce the blue, and then we do 2 blues. So 1, 2, working, oops, I dropped the tail, working over our non-working yarns. I dropped the blue after, yes, to do the color change. And now it's just going to be 1 white, we're going to drop the white to color change the blue, and then we have one blue. So you don't really get to do a full stitch when it's just one. For some reason I don't like those as much. And then after that we have 4 white. So now we get more of a break from color changing. 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th I'm going to do a color change at the end. Drop the white, pick up the blue, and now we do 2 blue. 1, 2, drop the blue, pick up the white, 1 white, color change, oh, the sun went away, 1 blue, color change, 4 white. And when I say 4 white, I am also including what comes at the end on the dark column. But essentially, like I said, it is as if there was going to be a continuation. So that makes sense. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. And then we cut these ends, and you're going to repeat that going according to the pattern of the chart. So I think this gives you good enough of an idea. I'll let you work it up a little more, and I'll join you, I think, on the last row of the wave. All right, you can see how I've worked up the chart so far. We are on the last row of the wave. I've already joined my white yarn at the other end. You can see where we've been cutting all our ends here. They look like tassels. And so I'm going to continue the waistcoat stitch for 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'm going to color change on the 5th. We bring in our blue, just giving that little bump left on the wave. So we're going to do 2 blue, so we color change on the second one. Pick up our white, and then we're going to do 5 white again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, is that right? Let me double check. Let me put my chart. Oh, I'm sorry, not 5 again, 6 again. So we have 4, 5, 6. Yes, that would make sense for the repeat. My apologies. And then 2 blue, and then including the ending one, otherwise you would do another 6 white if you kept going and repeat the light section. But since we're at the end, we're considering the end of the white section and that last dark column. So here we are, that is the waves. And at this point, since we've worked up our waves, we can now chain 1, turn our work, and work a regular single crochet across. And also you can see how my color work looks on the back. And since it's all like the back side of, well, they also look like V's in a lot of spots. But for simplicity's sake, let's keep moving on. We just have 2 rows left, and they will be regular single crochets. So we'll do regular single crochet in white back across. You can keep doing the waistcoat stitch as we have been if you like that look and want to polish it off that way. I'm going to color change at the end to our blue, and so that means I need to snip the blue back here. I won't snip it close since we worked over it, so it shouldn't come undone. Going to color change to the blue and chain 1. Turn to work, and I'm going to work over the ends. Here, and then it's just regular, single crochets across all the way. this point. Whoop. I don't know how nasty a sound that makes when it picks up. Sorry about that. And then I'll finish my single crochets all the way across. This will be your last row for your trim, or your wave color work as we have it here. Sorry, the sun keeps going in and out. Oops. That did not look clean. I might open my window real quick. Just to finish this off here, I don't know if that is too much light. I like to filter it through. So at the end here, of course, finish it off. I'm going to just secure it for now. And there we have it. You can see here the waves. I think they look very pretty and they look gorgeous as they trim. And so the smaller you are, the more dense you can get them. But you can see it works up. It's fairly tall as well. So now what I like to do when coming to the ends all on this side is I'm going to work them into the back. So I might grab about 2 of the strands, maybe from the same row, and work them backwards down here. And just work them through some of the back loops of these stitches to secure them down. And you can use whatever method you prefer for securing or weaving in your ends. But this is what I chose to do, so just if that is helpful to you, I think that's good enough. I'll snip those, and that's that, and I'm going to do them with all of them. So yeah, I think that's fair enough of a rundown, and you'll notice why we have 2 down here, just to explain that, is when you're attaching it to the cardigan, it creates this bumpiness, and the blue, dark blue can get lost because it wants to kind of hide behind the light blue cardigan stitches, so I added an extra row to give that better definition. But yeah, that is it. If you have any questions, let me know. There are other I have another tutorial for how to do it in the round for when you're doing it for the cuff sleeves, or the trim on the sleeves, so you can also check that out if you need help there. And I hope this was helpful.